Coming up next on the Witness the World podcast. Create your golden moment.
Some people call me cocky. The media called me cocky, but it wasn't cocky. To me, they misunderstand that it's confidence, right? And when I work so hard and they see me only for maybe that hour and they see the energy, they misinterpret the positive and the energy for cockiness when it's confidence, because I put the work in to make it look easy, right? And I don't mind trash talking, because guess what? I'm gonna back it up, and that's who I am. And if you beat me, I'm coming back for you the next race, because guess what? It's a new slate, and I have a chance of world record just like everybody else. So that's the difference in my mindset than others. I have bad memory in the last race, except the things that I want to take out of it in a positive sense to improve. The rest, I just throw it out. Look forward to the next race.
The Witness the World podcast represents the personal views of the host and guests at the time of recording. These views may change over time. The content here is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Any content here should not be construed as financial, medical, or any other type of professional advice. Please consult with a qualified practitioner should you require any professional advice. G'day everyone. Welcome to episode 15 of the Witness the World podcast. My name is Ben Choi, and today we'll be heading to Eastern Canada. Our guest is an Olympic and world champion sprinter. He's also a coach, a motivational speaker, and he also co-founded a feedback platform that helps people elevate their performance. Today, we'll learn about his journey and how he helps guide others on a path to achieve their golden moment. Robert Esmie, thanks for joining us today.
And it's fantastic to be here. Fantastic to be here. You know, on the Witness the World podcast. The world is about to witness what we're about to go down between you and I right now. And if we can't solve it, we're going to bring it to the track and we're going to have a race off.
I like that. That's excellent, Robert. So I think, maybe a great way to start us off is if I could ask you a little bit about Atlanta. I know it's almost 27 years later since that big race in Atlanta. So just wondering, what do you do on August the 3rd every year to kind of celebrate that moment?
You know, to tell you the truth, I don't do anything, man. The crazy thing is my woman's birthday and my daughter's birthday is within August, right? So the first week and the second week. So I'm busy planning what presents to get them, what to do. I never really do much around that. And then we have track meets for the kids around that same weekend, some kind of championship. So I never really get any time for me to reflect and enjoy the moment. But you know what? I think this year, now that you mention it, I am going to get turned up for a change.
Sounds good. So do you actually keep in touch with the other guys on your team, like Donovan and Glenroy and Bruni? Do you guys connect every so often to reminisce, or maybe this is the year to do it? I don't know.
Not much. Occasionally I talk to Carlton a little bit more. Bruni, we go back and forth and text and once in a while calls and social media. Keep us in contact. Donovan, once in a blue moon. Glenroy is a busy man around the world with Team Canada, bringing home gold medals with the rest of the country. So he's out there doing his thing. So we appreciate you, Glenroy. But yeah, overall, just casual friendship, I would say. Nothing deep, brotherly type of a friendship. Just casual friends.
Good stuff. So I got to say, as a proud Canadian, that moment in Atlanta, I mean, it was one of those sporting highlights that you kind of remember for the rest of your life. I mean, you guys were going into, I guess, the hornet's nest, in the Americans' home turf.
Yeah,
And you guys showed them that, hey, there's another team out there that's on their level, but you guys obviously took it down, which is really impressive. And yeah, I think most Canadians, we all fondly remember that moment, even to today. And you're still on that YouTube, and yeah, I watch that every so often. So yeah, you're immortal on the internet, and that moment will resonate for the end of time. So I just wanted to kind of get into how you got to that moment. And so you originally came from that sprinting factory known as Jamaica many years ago. And I believe you came here to Canada when you were around 11 years old. And then you kind of, I guess, decided sprinting was your thing. And just wondering, yeah, if you could take us back to, what that was like coming to Canada and then deciding, hey, maybe I'll try sprinting and take it from there.
it was cold, 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 just like now. Even today, we still got snow and freezing rain in Sudbury. I was like, come on. I was trying to get the pool ready for my son's birthday because we usually like to pop off as a birthday bash by May 4th weekend, but it's not going to happen this year. I'm feel so sad for him because I had an awesome plan of a balloon party for him. Right, he's turning double digits. We're gonna do it up like Vegas. We had everything planned because last year it was nice. This year it's not gonna work out for him. We're gonna have to push it to maybe summer. But overall, when I came, I'm telling you, my friend, it was cold. I'm wondering why am I here. I didn't like much because all I saw was snow and ice and cold. As I deep thawed a little bit out, um, I watched the '88 Olympics in Seoul, Korea. And I remember it was Ben Johnson versus Carl Lewis. I remember Carl was tall, long legs, he just do a couple strides, and the crowd is going nice. Wah! And then Ben Johnson, the muscle, looks like a Escalade Avalanche, well put together, fine-tuned Ferrari, chisel. Reminds me actually of the Porsche, the way the back of the Porsche looks, and it cocks out, and the muscle pop. And I remember the light was glycerin off his muscles. And I remember the gentleman in Korea Seoul says, "Aya." I was like, whoa. And the crowd became silence. "Aya." And coming in a set position. The gun fired. Ben jumped out the blocks, guy. It was amazing. I was jumping on the bed with my mom, having a good time. And at the end of it, I went to sleep and woke up and I heard he tested positive for drugs. I was heartbroken. I was crying. And it wasn't Canada athlete tested positive. They slammed Jamaica right in the mix. It was no more Canadian. It wasn't jumping for joy for Canada. It was Jamaica, disgrace, disgrace. And I was heartbroken. I wasn't going to lie to you. And I wanted to change the narrative because I'm fresh from Jamaica too, right? So I wanted to change the narrative of the headline. And I wanted to be able to give myself an opportunity to help restore Canada's pride. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I just knew something was going to happen. I went back to bed that night and I dreamt I was getting a gold medal around my neck. It never told me what event. It never told me anything except I saw the gold medals going over my neck, and I saw pride and joy back in Canada's heart and Jamaica's name being restored. So I said to my mother, and my mom's all about education, right? That's why part of the reason why I came to Canada. And I said, I want to be able to do track and, win a gold medal. She wasn't having it. And that's the first time I've heard about a dream killer. This is my mama. She's ready to kill my dreams. And I didn't even come out the blocks yet. right? So I had to find a way to convince her or persuade her to allow me to do track. So at the time I said, when my father passed away, I said, how much do you think it's going to cost to go to medical school? Because I know she wanted me for me to be a doctor. And she said at least $80,000. I said, do you have that now? And she was like, no, not yet. I'm going to do a lot of overtime and stuff. So I said, okay. how about if you allow me to do track, I'll maintain, C average. What you talking about? No, right? And then we go back and we negotiated, and we got an A when I'm in school in Sudbury. If I have to travel, I can't let it drop past the B. So that's for me to travel and compete. So I got that out of the way. And I said, if I'm very good at what I do, I could get a scholarship. That could be $250,000, $500,000 to become a doctor. So that caught her attention, right? And then after that, I said, I need some money to borrow. She was like, where am I going to get money from? Right? Money don't grow on tree. I'm like, it's not a lot, but for back then it's a lot. So I wanted $1,500 because I wanted to create a poster and go door to door and sell it to fundraise to have enough to pay for my coach. And at the time, my coach was going to be $10,000 a year. Right. So, and I didn't have much. So I had my school photographer guy, took the photos, went to the graphic guy. He says, $1,500 is give me 1,000 posters and we can sell out and then come back for a reorder. So with all that stuff, I created enough money to go door to door and businesses and create enough money for pay for my coaching and everything. And that's how the dream started. Because once again, I had a dream, I had a passion, I had a purpose. I wanted to restore Canada's pride. And that's how I got into track and field. I knew I had a bit of raw talent because at the school days, sports activity day, I won everything except for shot put and long jump. Right. So I said, okay, I got some raw gifts. So I remember I went to a indoor meet, a little exhibition race. They had World Juniors in '88 in Sudbury, and they had Ben Johnson came up, and they had a little bit of mini race. I think it was like 40 meters or something like that, 40 yards. And I remember clocking 4:22. And the coach at the time says, no, that would have been a world record. I said, boy, I guess it's a world record, right? And he's like, yeah, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. If you're serious, come out and pay me my money and we can start training. So I went out the following day, and this guy worked the heck out of me, my friend. Like, I was sore when I got home, but I had my mom waiting at home. She gave me the bubble bath, my hot chocolate, and tell me everything's going to be all right. And then the next day I got up, went back to practice. He looks at me and says, you're back for more punishment. I said, yes, sir. I'll have a gold medal to go get. Right. And yes, I was small. The girls were bigger than I am, but I chat a lot. Right. I went back to the train again, crawled home again. Mom got the bath ready, Epsom salt, my hot cocoa, and to help speed up my recovery. And ever since then, we trained, I think it was for 2 months. I went to Windsor, and I remember running my first race on a black track right by the highway. I remember two tall guys, a 6'3", the other one was like 6'5". It was Mark Graham, bright orange bodysuit, dark chocolate earrings in his ear, one big one in his nose. They call him the Bull. And when these guys come, people are like scared of them, but not me for some reason. I looked at it and I looked up at them. I'm like, this is like David and the Goliath. I'm going to sling up. Right? And I came out in the 200, the first race, made the finals, and I end up fourth. Right? I wasn't happy. I was leading up to about 160. And then I came back the next day and I'm like, so if I'm leading at 160, there's a greater chance that I can beat these guys in 100, right? In my thought process. So we came out, made the finals in 100, and one beside me here and the other one beside me. I'm looking back and forth, right? And I came out the blocks, leading for 80. And then, boom, they got me the last 20. I got third. I went back and I said, 2 months of work, third place. Back then, I think there was 9 million people in Ontario. I'm the third fastest man out of 9 million. Okay, let's put some work in. And that's how the dream started. And I started putting the work in and improve each year.
Wow, that's a great story there. It's so funny, like, you took that vision from something that was negative, obviously, Ben Johnson, testing positive, but you turned that into a positive, you turned his positive into your positive, and Yeah, and then you kind of took it from there. So yeah, that's that's quite the amazing story. You just get the vision and you find a way. So just kind of curious, when did it start to set in that this was real? I guess like you were doing all these these races, these competitive meets, like that was like in grade 11, 12. Just wondering what kind of age range were you at that point in time?
I think it was 16 or so. I met Ben in Toronto on his second turn of return after his drug bust, and he heard about my starts. So he called my house. My mom answered the phone and go, "Who? Ben Johnson? Who? Why you calling my house?" Right? And he says, "I heard your son has won a bullet start. I'm returning back to track and field, and I'd love to do some starts and sharpen up my stuff." And she's like, "So what?" Um, she's like, "Yeah, can I bring him down to Toronto to come and do some starts with me and stuff?" You know, my son have school, right? Yes, Mrs. Esmie. Oh yeah, he was very respectful, and my mom loved Ben to begin with, right? So I said, "Sure, we'll come down." I remember going down and media from all over the world. The return of Ben Johnson, right? I'm talking all over the world. I remember was doing some 10-meter starts with them, and I beat him a couple of times. He's gonna say, "No, no, no." I said, "Hey," I pull out the paper. I'm like, "Here I am. I'm ahead of you. Pictures don't lie, man. Pictures don't lie." Right? So I remember one of his guys said, "Oh, you can't beat him for 20." So I said, "Okay." So, I said, "You want to put some wager on it?" He said, "Sure." Put $100. I'm like, "You give me the $100. You don't know who I am." So I came blazing out the blocks. I beat him again to 20, right? He's scratching his head and he's like, "This kid is fast, man." I said, "Of course, I am the bullet." Right? So anyway, he says, "Okay, this time I'm going to go 50 meter." So I said, "Sure." I said, "I'm not going to bet anymore. I'm good at 20. Right? So I came out the blocks. Boom, I'm leading at 20. All of a sudden, I felt his knee lift and felt the wind go by me. I was like, "Wow." Right? He find a way to shift gear. I don't know how to do all that shifting yet. I'm automatic. I haven't got the standard technique going on yet. Right? So I was like, "Wow, that's what speed feels like." And at that moment, I knew I had some raw talent. So I went back to him and I said, "Listen, I'm going to break your high school record." "Nobody breaks Ben Johnson record," he says. "Nobody." Because it's been up there for about 10 years. So I said, "All right, come on up to Sudbury and we'll do some training and then you can watch me break your record." So he came up that summer and we had like 10,000 people in the stadium. Outside of Jamaica's championship, this was the second biggest high school meet in North America. Jamaica will get 50,000 people at the high school. Right? So we had everybody, celebrities coming in to see me break this record. It's been around for 10 years. And they're like, "No." So I said, "Hey, come on up, put the money where the mouth is. I'm going to break it." And guess what? Broke it. And we're like, "Yeah." Because if you get a medal at awesome, I've always said it puts you in a situation to one day be an Olympian, right? And guess what? I went in, it's my backyard. I had the right people, I had the right attitude, I had the swag, I had everything, the ambiance. I remember I was in lane 1 in the finals, and usually they go from lane 1 to 8 announcing. The announcer went from lane 8 back to 1. I'm like, "Lane 1, I'm the number 1, fellas." I hear people saying, "Oh, you shouldn't run in lane 1, it's not fast lane." I'm like, we all have the same equal distance. And I don't need to be in the middle of the pack. I can be anywhere and beat anybody. But I like the number 1 because it tells them I'm number 1. I'm going to create some pressure. But yeah. I did the exact same thing he did in Seoul. I came blazing out the blocks, jump out. 80 meters, I had my hand up in victory and still slow down and still broke the record. Right? So it was amazing. And yeah, right then we know we got some talent and we got some work to do to make the dream finalize.
Wow, those are some great flashbacks there, Robert. So, yeah, so you knew you had some work to do, and that's like the training side of things. So, just wanted to, yeah, touch real briefly, like, what kind of training did you have to do from that point forward? I mean, you hear all these athletes of today, they got to do like training like every day of the year to for whatever their discipline to be getting really competitive. And what did you do there? Was that in conjunction with the Canadian Olympic team and your coaches? And just how did that training program fit for your schedule?
So I had a trainer up till the about the end of '95. So for me, during transitioning throughout high school, I train every morning. I get up at 6 a.m. and I train till about 7, or I take the bus to school and I get there at 7 and I'll train till 8, clean up, and then get to class. So for me, I deal with the relative strength, some weights, push-ups, pull-ups, that type of stuff in the morning time. And I try to do about 1,000 sit-ups per day, 1,000 pull-ups per day, because I am not the biggest. As I said, females were bigger than I am. I think back then I was maybe 5'5", 120, 18 pounds. So I had to make sure my muscle was dense, similar to a golf ball. And I have to study the different track, the kind of energy return I'm going to get. So I had to learn to be somewhat of a technician, right? Because when I'm facing guys 6'5", right, David and the Goliath, I'm coming with the heart, but I have to make sure the body can hold up and not fall apart like a pinto when you get it going over a certain speed. It starts falling apart. I have to make sure everything stays together and make it look easy. So we do that in the morning. In between every class, I do about at least 100 sit-ups. As soon as I sit down, I'll start doing my sit-ups, leg raises and different things, push-ups. And people look at me and think I'm crazy. Who's this crazy guy? But once again, I had a mission that they don't understand, right? Only 5 of my friends sort of understand it. And he won the world championship for boxing, gymnastics, name it. So I circled myself with the right people who's going down the right direction with me. And then from there, I leave, I get home. As soon as I get home, I take the bus to track, and I put about an hour and a half on the track training. And then that was my schedule. So pretty much 2.5 hours per day during high school, 4 to 5 times a week. As soon as I transitioned out of high school, I decided track is my job. So I schedule 6 hours per day, in a sense, 5 to 6 hours per day. I train early morning when people are sleeping. Early bird catches the best fish. So, and then I do sort of a yoga, 1 hour meditation, relaxation, mental peace, right? And recover and get the muscles ready and lots of stretches and stuff. Then I have a 2-hour workout in the evening. It's either speed endurance, speed, blocks, certain specific type of training, water training. And the whole concept is I train rain, snow, and shine, name it, wind, except for lightning, right? I try to run out the lightning, and that's why I gave up, because now Bolt came in and put his lightning. But, I have to think of myself that I travel the world and I have different people coming in. And for me to be world class, I have to do more than others because of the disadvantage that I have being under 5'8", right? And being, by 96, I think I was maybe 138 pounds, right? So, and I have to be creative in my thinking process, and everything that I do, it has to deal with travel, because I know 80% of the time I need to be airborne, right? And these guys have long legs and different things. So I always have to think outside the box to be able to be ready at that moment. I don't train to say win every race, but I train for championships, right? That's when it counts the most. That's my Oscar. That's the time the stakes are high. And during that time, I'm building up my mental state from different, mindset, motivational videos, having the surrounding right people around me. Right? It's important and then not only that, I was mentally strong to begin with, because I'm self-motivated. That's the other thing. Very self-motivated. Some people call me cocky. The media called me cocky, but it wasn't cocky. To me, they misunderstand that it's confidence, right? And when I work so hard and they see me only for maybe that hour and they see the energy, they misinterpretate the positive and the energy for cockiness when it's confidence, because I put the work in to make it look easy. Right? And I don't mind trash talking, because guess what? I'm gonna back it up. And that's who I am. And if you beat me, I'm coming back for you the next race. Because guess what? It's a new slate, and I have a chance of world record just like everybody else. So that's the difference in my mindset than others. I have bad memory on the last race, except the things that I want to take out of it in a positive sense to improve. The rest, I just throw it out. Look forward to the next race. So, but yeah, overall, it was a challenging process for me. I went through some injuries. I'm not gonna lie, and that comes with not having the extra knowledgeable expert to help guide that pieces, because I've realized over the years I have to be like a pit crew. I have to have my medical staff, my recover, my this, my that, and I add yoga, not yoga, I add sort of dancing, gymnastics, ballet to my repertoire because I found out I have too much fast twitch fibers. And as soon as I get a massage, my muscles tight up within 20 minutes. So I had to make sure my flexibility was on point and range of motion. And yes, I look bad in a leotards, but it wasn't about that. It's about me improving and building onto the pieces to be ready for the showcase for 1996.
Those are some really great insights there, Robert. So I think you covered some of the questions I was going to ask you, but I thought I'd, pick your brain on what it's like, it's for athletes of today. I mean, you're doing some coaching now, and you kind of understand the pitfalls, the challenges that they have to go through. I think times have changed a little bit since, the 90s to now. And you've discussed elements like about, having that pit crew, that team, that supporting cast to help you out. Because, I mean, like nowadays, you have to do all these track meets, you have to do the competitions, you probably have to fly out, you have to pay for plane tickets, all these things, you need sponsorship. So it's quite a lot that goes into just competition, let alone Olympic competition. And just wondering if you can tell us a little bit about, some of the athletes that you're helping train, like what are they going through these days, and how important is it for them to have that supporting cast and the resources like to be able to be successful?
I enjoy working with multi-sport athletes to begin with. We have athletes that played in the CFL, NFL, lacrosse, gymnastics, make the Olympic team in gymnastics. And I'm not even a gymnastics coach, but I'm a speed doctor. So I understand and fascinated with speed. So now that I'm on the East Coast here, it's not a big group that I have, but I wanted to start, especially in the city that I live, at age 5 and above. I believe in allowing them to have some fun, developing the movements of the body. They're learning the basic anatomy of the body. They're utilizing speed, power, agility, strengthening, but also work the mental piece from first day of practice. So I walk down the first day and I have my doctor coat on. I wish I had a fan so they can just see me in a slow motion. But I believe in training the mental. So I said to them, we train for championships. So if this is where you want to go, you have the right coach. If this is not for you, then you need to go find a different group, because I believe in performance. I said, from you wake up till you go to sleep, there's always competition. In the classroom, on the ice, on the courts, on the track, in life. You have sibling, there's competition, right? Fighting for attention, taking all the food. You have none left because if you're too slow. So you are here to learn to compete at a high level, right? You are here to learn athletic, to be an athlete and an ambassador off the track. So that's how I teach. A young lady, for instance, Milena, she plays multi-sport in school. She just finished gymnastics. The body, in gymnastics go through its toll. They reach certain level, it's over. She seeked me out, came in April. She ended up with a big injury from another sport. That was it. Didn't do anything till October. She came back out. We start dryland training, trying to get her ready for the indoor season. Came up with a plan. She played football, flag football, broke her arm. There's always something happening. So it's healed, put a medical crew around her. I said, okay, that's it. No more other sport. If track and field is what you want and where you want to go, let's lock in and give me 3 months. Let me put some proper work in. Came in December, we were able to have a good training session in December. The goal, and we sat down and we said, okay, if we can achieve at least an 8:10 in the 60-meter dash for under 16 years old, she's 14, turning 15. I said, that will potentially put you into medal potential in the province. If you're able to do that consistently over the next few years, you're talking a full scholarship Division I, right, as we develop over time. So we came in, and the first race, you race against university girls, college girls, and there was 92 participants. She finished 16th. Okay? She opened her season, and we don't have a track to train on. We're just doing different things and working with my expertise. She popped in 8.39 her first race. We went the next day to a different meet, and she ran a different event and got blown away once again. Came back to her and said, it's not about you getting blown away. It's about you learning to compete. And I want to see you in different environments so I can train and prepare you. 2 weeks later, we went back to train to run a 1/10 of a second faster. We came back in 2 weeks later, 8:28. We're in the right direction. Went back to train for 2 more weeks, came back in 8:16, right? We went to Vancouver. I said, I don't expect you to perform well here because, we left Thursday, recover Friday, jet lag, all the other pieces. Just see if we can finally make a podium. All right, she came in and got 2 medals. Yay, we're jumping for joy. It's done. Now she got a taste of the podium. And I said, okay, now we can get ready to start preparing. So we went back home. We went to Toronto. And after a week of training, we hit 8:11. She ended up 6th in the province now, right? So I said, okay, we're knocking on the door. So we came into the last meet last weekend, on the weekend here, and we had 3 weeks to prepare for it. I said, let's see if we can go hit our 8:10. Guess what, my friend? In the semi, she came out at 8:06 in the heats at 9:30 in the morning. 9:30. Right? People still sleeping. We have to make sure we're awake. So I'm training for all that stuff, right? Came back in the final, 8 seconds, silver medal. The girl who won is the #1 girl in the country. Right? So that's the work that we put in. But guess what? It's mental. I've been training her mentally and preparing and improving. And every loss, I said, bank it up as experience, because the championship is when we put it all together at that right moment. So now, she's #2 in the province. Can't go wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story, and a story of progression and growth there. So you talked a little bit about the mental side there, and it sounds like that is probably 3/4 of the battle right there. Training and all that everybody can kind of do. Probably not too much difference. I mean, it depends on what kind of sport, but like the mental side of things, like, did you suggest to her to do some different activities, different things to help harden her mind a little bit more?
Yes.
Listen to affirmations or anything? I just wondering, what was your plan
Absolutely.
with her?
Every competition, because I train the mind first, right? So everything that I'm teaching her how to do the mental game for championship, because that's where a lot of people loses when they get in the call room. They're not mentally prepared, right? So I'm always preparing that, because I said I train for championships. She's got a championship coach, right? We train for that. So each time we get to a meet, especially, there's always 2 YouTube videos that I pull up by the Friday night that I have to go through. And that is the message and the theme that I want going through that competition. That's where I want her to be positioned. So when she gets there, we're there to execute. And she's thinking about the video. I remember one of the video was something about character. I know she's going into a line and then at one of the meets where she will not be the favorite. But the whole purpose is, after you run one race, the character should not define you based on that race. If it didn't go well, you need to redefine yourself and get back focused for the next race and elevate. Take the passion and that anger out in that race, right? And focus on you. So different. And then there's other ones where it's vision, coming in like a lion. I think the last championship was something about final preparation. You've worked hard, you've prepared. This is the moment where you go and enjoy yourself and be relaxed. Come out like a lion, the lion instinct and reaction, right? And that was the message going in. I didn't do any much coaching. It's all about the mental side. Because when you're training, it's 80%, I think, physical, 20% mental. When you go to competition, it flips. If you got to worry about training and stuff, you should not be there. You're not ready to compete at that level. So it all becomes a mental game. I'm being selfish at a certain time because there's people's going to be moving on, crossing you and crossing your lanes and being stupid and all different things. You got to remove and continue moving the goalposts to find your selfish moment during that time. In the car room, same thing. Be selfish. Find that moment and block people out or don't be nice. I don't want a nice person. I want you to come out like an animal. After the race, it can be, hi, how you doing? Be nice. But right now, for that moment, be selfish and come in with your A game. You don't need to be having conversation and talking to people at that moment. You can say, hi, how are you? But remember the task. Execution, right? You saw the movie, Catch Me If You Can. Which one are you going to be? Are you going to be the lion or are you going to get eaten today? What's going on? Be in that moment. If you're behind them, chase them, right? Apply pressure. Take them off the game plan. If you're ahead, if you're out in the outer lane, you say you're doing the 200 and you're ahead of them, they're coming after you. So are you going to be eaten today? That's what you have to think about, right? If the lactic is hitting you coming around after pushing the boundaries, you better tap into your spiritual side and say, our Father who art in heaven, lift my legs up and take me home. You got to come into your biblical side, right? So those are the things that I like to attack into mental. And I like to plant the seed at this age because when they reach the older age, they're locked in, they're solid. They're there to compete.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Well, thanks for the clarity on that, Robert. So, yeah, work on the mental side early on, build the foundations, the building blocks so that they can be strengthened as they kind of get older and work on the competitions and get them to believe, I guess, with your YouTube videos or the other stuff that you do there. And then I guess from there, if they can see some success there, those scholarships will come and everything else kind of takes its own course and it'll kind of take care of itself or do a little fundraising kind of like what you did too. So there's all sorts of other avenues that you can tap, but the foundation, I guess, is mental side, get the right attitude and you take it from there then, I guess. So
absolutely.
yeah.
I tell a couple of them, I said, you got a whole bunch of medals. I said to them, some of them made the local papers. I said, take that to church, talk to pastor, right? Pastor do a special collection for you for your fundraising, right? And I said, the only reason he's going to do that for you and some extra frame because you have the hardware. They can see it, they can hold it, and they can believe it now. Before they didn't really because you're saying la, 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 but they don't see it. Now you got something tangible, and you're in the paper. So now they're the biggest fan. It's like, my son's like, Dad, tell him to go buy my merch. I'm like, merch? What are you talking about? My merchandise, Daddy. On my website, tell them to go buy my merch, right? So he's fundraising early. Oh yeah, my little man's an entrepreneur, right? So he make big dollars. Every medal he gets, he's getting like $20, $30, man, from all the family members. So right now his piggy bank is stacked. And now he's like, Daddy, you need to take me to the bank. I gotta go put it in there to get some investment. I'm like, that's my boy. That's my boy.
Well, that's really great, Robert. So one element I want to kind of touch on, and I think this is a good transition to some of the other stuff you're doing now with Critiq, the feedback platform, is so you're talking about when you're in competition, you got to be ferocious like a lion, and you got to eat, or it's either eat or be eaten, I guess, in that world. Once you're on the track, right? So no other way of looking at it. And I guess something would be similar would be like the business world. You're going to have to eat or be eaten, and it's stiff competition. And just curious, like with all that athletic competition you had to build a foundation. How has that helped you for the business world that you're in now with all the stuff you do with Critiq?
When I met the co-founders, the other co-founders along myself, when I met them, I was working with them and their kids. and they mentioned the idea of where they want to go. And one of them, Bernie, was a photographer, and he was saying he used to stay in line to see one of the world's best photographer for hours to get a 30-second of that person's time for $500, a critique. And he still remember that to today that he practices. For myself, I remember growing up and I had a coach up to end of 95, I was mentioning. I now, end of 95 to 96, I self-coach myself. And I wish I had someone locally or beyond where I could have tapped into and get some help. I felt I probably could have had a world record. So with all those things in place and me working with athletes and doing camps all over the globe, I said, this is perfect. It's an opportunity for me to help people and give back. And then with the pandemic, I'm realizing so many people around that are in the living room as experts want to give back, but don't know how to give back. A lot of people in the driveway doing different things, looking to get help and can't get help. So as we come together and start putting it together, and someone upload a video from the driveway shooting a basketball and pick Jordan Kilgannon, one of the world's greatest dunkers, to help them. And he's helping from an Uber, right? And I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. So we're able to connect people from all over the globe and put them together in different spaces. But the fact is, I wanted it more personalized. And that's why we have the personalized critique. When we're looking at people learning process, people can learn from YouTube, read from a book, but this generation has changed, right? They want to learn something now. Their attention span is limited, and they want to bypass some of the hours of reading books and stuff, which you still should read at least a book. It's enjoyable. You can go through the process, but some people want things right now. So when we created this, we wanted to make sure we can help people change the world, enter a new space, and disrupt some other learning process. And that's what Critiq is. Personalized video feedback from world experts from all categories. I've been in the business field. I want to be able to give back. So we have over 25 categories that is proven cases that it works. From business, pitch decks, having a venture capitalist going over your pitch, photographer going through your photography, your artists, skateboarders, sports is natural, right? Lots of NBA players, Sam Cassell, name it, NBA stars, trainers, doctors, chiros. We have experts for cooks all over the globe. Resumes, I suck at resume, I ain't gonna lie to you. So, I can upload my stuff and get some help with some resume before I send it out, right? So many areas where we get to help people while they're in the living room or they're experts or wherever busy doing other things. The one thing I've learned, the experts said we have at least 2 minutes or 5 minutes per day can give. All it takes is 1 to 2 minutes to give a precise feedback, pinch and zoom, look it over, break it down, and you see them, right? They're credited, right? So you're not getting a fake doing your stuff. You can look at their profile and their videos and feel confident. This guy is going to, or this female is going to give me a great feedback and break it down. And how am I doing? That's most important. How am I doing? And that's a thing that's missing in learning right now, right? How can I improve? How can I get better, right? And what am I doing, good or bad, right? And I've been working with the app and people loving it. They're like, finally, right? It's like having a coach in your pocket, but it's right there. And you can watch it, download it as many times as you want.
That's a great origin story there, Robert. And I've kind of poked around on the site there. And yeah, like you said, like there's all sorts of different experts from all different disciplines, not just sports. I mean, photography, resume. I saw that recently too. Work on your resume or work on your podcasting skills, all sorts of things. And so I just to help, I guess, conceptualize for some people listening here, you're not there. You have a disruptive technology, but you're not there to disrupt existing coaching programs or hockey schools. You're there to complement them and add for people that are, I'll call them eager beavers. They want to add, they want to get that little edge. They want to,
absolutely.
So that's kind of your niche here. You're here to complement, use the technology, and just add on what's already out there to help them reach a higher level of success.
We are a resource to accelerated learning for people who want to get better. If I could put it like that, straight to the point. Accelerated learning by a world expert to help you with your game, to take it to the next level. Anything, business, personal, hobbies. You could come for sports for your kid. All of a sudden, you got a dog trainer because you have a misbehaving dog, or you have a garden special from HDT. Oh, or take a look at my interior from the designer. Instead of spending millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to do something, you pay $100 and break it down. They're like, oh, snap. I just saved myself thousands of dollars. So it's awesome, my friend. It's awesome.
Great. Yeah, no, that's a good explanation there. So, wanted to ask you, what do you see Critique going in the next, like, I don't know, couple years? Because you did mention you got some, like Sam Cassell. I saw Nick Van Exel on there. So it looks like two like notable, well, NBA players. Like, right now, I guess you're building out the network. You're just getting the word out and just adding on to your network. That's kind of the focus right now, right? Just growing the network.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're doing some raise right now because once again, we need to hire a couple more people and then ramp up our advertising and then continue adding more experts. So I would say probably in 3 years or less, we'd like to have tens of thousands of experts on there. And at the end of the day, we want to be the number one feedback platform in the world. When you think of Critique, when you think of need to get help, you just go straight to Critique and find your expert. That's the gold standard I want to see within 3 years. Anytime you think of feedback critique, you need to go see us. Period. No other option. See the best if you want to be the best.
Gotcha. So the gold medalist creating a new gold standard for himself and for the world, I suppose you could say. So wow, no, that's awesome, Robert. So with Critique being a personal development app and you kind of building yourself all over the years, I'm just wondering, like, as a takeaway for what's for personal development, as that's kind of a theme of this show that we have here. Like, if there's like one or two things that are key for personal development through your experience and through all the stuff you've done, what would you say to people are the keys like to driving that personal development forward?
One thing I've learned is I'm going to leave it with the 5F. I find that faith plays a role. Doesn't matter what your religions are. It's the calm between the storm. The second one is fear, right? What is the motivational factor? What causes you to do things? With Critique, the motivational factors, leave a legacy behind where I can help others, even when I'm not here, right? That's where I'm looking to. Third one, it's important that we ask for favors, right? We're learning, we're developing. We're gonna go through areas where we're not an expert. We're gonna do things that we don't have the expertise. It's okay to ask for help. Some people are scared to ask for help. So favors is number 3. The fourth one that you need to do is always be focused. And when you're not focused, you reach the little fifth one that you don't like is frustration and accountability, right? So if anything I'm going to leave with them is the 5F. Faith, fear, favors, focus, and frustration. Don't get there. Nobody likes it. But guess what? It's also part of the process if you get there to regroup and re-get back into the main plan and stuff. And sometimes you do need a little bit of frustration. Sometimes it humbles you and give you a teaching moment.
Those are some good words and some good tips there, and some great insights there, Robert. So
no problem. That one's free.
That one's free. Okay, awesome. Right. So we covered a lot here and a lot of great material here. And as we're kind of winding down this podcast, always ask my guests a two-parter question. So here goes. What are you most grateful for? And what are you most looking forward to in the future?
I am grateful that I'm living in a country that there's no war. There's more love than hate in this country. I'm grateful that I have a family that I spend a lot of time with. Time is something that's very rare to a lot of people. I'm blessed with it at the moment and where I can share it with the people that I love. And I'm working with people that I love at work. And I try to surround myself with the best of the best, and I have some of the best around me. You know what we say, knife sharpen knife, right? It's iron sharpen knife. So I want to make sure surround yourself with good people. Right? Cut out the negative things and go forward. Life is too short. Enjoy that moment.
And what are you most looking forward to in the future?
Having the #1 platform on the planet, feedback platform. What can I tell you? I'm a #1. I like to be #1. So come on over. Give it as a gift to your friends. Use it yourself. Let's be #1 together, right? You help me to help you. We become #1 together.
Well said, Robert. So if people want to know more about you, where can they find you?
I'm like Google, my friend, everywhere. Critiq.com, robertesmie.com, airblastoff.com, name it. I'm everywhere. I'm like Google. I could be in Vancouver by tomorrow. You don't even know it.
Excellent. Thanks, Robert. We'll be sure to add that information to the show notes. So that's a wrap for episode 15. Thanks for joining us, and namaste, everyone.